My family erased me so completely from their lives that they hired a professional artist to paint me out of every family photo, replacing my face with their golden retrievers. But here's the thing about trying to delete someone from history. Sometimes the universe has other plans. 3 months after I was disinherited, disowned, and declared dead to them, my face appeared on the new $20 bill, not as some random model or historical figure they chose to honor. As me. Dr. Elena Vasquez, the daughter they claimed never existed, was now staring back at them from every wallet in America. "That'll be $23.50, the gas station clerk said, not even looking up from his phone. I handed him a 20 and fumbled for change, exhausted from another 12-hour shift at the lab. That's when I saw it, my own face staring back at me from the bill in his hand. "What the hell?" I grabbed the 20 from him. "Problem?" He finally looked up, annoyed. I stared at the bill. Same dark hair, same scar through my left eyebrow from when I fell off my bike at 7, same stupid crooked smile I'd inherited from, well, apparently not from anyone, according to my family's revised history. "Where did you get this?" "The bank?" He looked at me like I'd asked where babies come from. "It's the new 20. They released them last week." I paid with exact change and stumbled to my beat-up Honda, hands shaking. This had to be some kind of mistake, a coincidence. Maybe the government just happened to pick someone who looked exactly like me for their new currency design. Except it wasn't just someone who looked like me. It was me, down to the tiny mole below my right ear that I'd always hated. I called my ex-boyfriend Jake, the only person who still returned my calls. "Jake, I need you to look something up for me." "Elena, it's 3 in the morning. Please, look up the new $20 bill. Tell me what you see." I heard him typing in the background. Then silence. "Jake? Holy shit, Elena, that's you. That's actually you." "I know it's me. The question is, how the hell did I end up on federal currency when 6 months ago my own father was telling reporters I was an unstable fantasist who had severe delusions about being part of the Vasquez family?" "Maybe someone at the Treasury Department likes your work. You did just publish that paper on." "Jake, I work the night shift at a community college lab. I test water samples for bacteria. I'm not exactly currency worthy." "Well, you did expose your dad's illegal drug trials." "Right, that. The thing that had gotten me erased from existence. It started with a simple data analysis. I was helping a friend review pharmaceutical trial results when I noticed something off about the numbers from Vasquez Pharmaceuticals. Participants who should have been getting better were dying instead. 12 people dead from a drug that was supposed to save lives. When I confronted my father, Dr. Richard Vasquez, CEO and golden boy of Big Pharma, he offered me $2 million to reconsider my findings. I chose integrity instead. Funny how that works out sometimes. "I need to see something," I told Jake. "I'm going to my parents' house." "Elena, they have a restraining order. They can't arrest me for driving down a public street." 20 minutes later, I was parked across from the Vasquez family mansion, staring at the warm, yellow light spilling from the windows. Through the living room window, I could see them having their traditional Sunday dinner. Mom, Dad, my sister Claire, my brother Marcus, just like old times. Except where I used to sit, they'd placed a framed photo of Precious, their golden retriever. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "You're wondering how you ended up on currency. Meet me at Denny's on 5th Street. Come alone." "A friend." Great. Nothing good ever started with "come alone" at a Denny's. But at this point, mysterious strangers seemed like my best bet for answers. The Denny's was exactly as depressing as expected. Fluorescent lights that made everyone look like extras from a zombie movie, and coffee that could strip paint. I spotted my mystery texter immediately. Mid-30s, dark suit, the kind of generic government issue face that screamed, "I have a security clearance." "Dr. Vasquez." He stood as I approached. Just Elena, and you are?" "Marcus Webb." He gestured to the booth across from him. "We need to talk. About why my face is on money I'll never have enough of to matter?" He slid a manila folder across the table. "About why your family erased you." I opened it. Inside were photos of me as a child. But not any photos I remembered. Me at age 7, standing in front of the White House. Me at age 10, shaking hands with someone who looked like a senator. Me at age 12 in what appeared to be some kind of laboratory. I've never been to any of these places. Are you sure? I stared at the photos harder. The girl in them was definitely me. Same birthmark on my wrist, same gap between my front teeth before I got braces. But I had no memory of these events. What's going on here? Marcus leaned forward. Elena, what's the first thing you remember from your childhood? I don't know, maybe age 8, starting 3rd grade? And before that? I tried to think back. There were flashes, my parents bringing me home from somewhere, being told I'd been very sick, and might not remember things clearly for a while. But the memories were fuzzy, like looking through frosted glass. The doctor said I had a severe concussion, car accident. That's why some of my early memories are spotty. Marcus pulled out another photo, a death certificate. Elena Vasquez, age 8, cause of death, automobile accident. According to official records, you died 22 years ago. The coffee cup slipped from my hands, shattering on the floor. The waitress hurried over with a mop, shooting us dirty looks. That's impossible. Is it? Think about your family's reaction when you exposed your father's drug trials. They didn't just disown you, they acted like you'd never existed at all. Like you were some stranger who'd somehow infiltrated their lives. Because I embarrassed them, cost them money. No, Elena, because you were never supposed to grow up to be someone who could threaten them. My phone buzzed. A text from Claire, my sister, or ex-sister, I guess. Stop trying to contact us. The person we knew as Elena died years ago. We don't know who you are or what you want, but leave our family alone. I showed Marcus the text. Explain that. Your sister believes what she's saying. They all do. The Elena they raised was never supposed to develop the kind of moral compass that would expose corruption. You were supposed to be compliant, grateful, controllable. So what are you saying? That I'm some kind of, clone? Replacement kid? Marcus was quiet for a moment. Elena, have you ever wondered why you're so good at pattern recognition? Why you can spot inconsistencies in data that other people miss? Actually, yeah, I'd always been weirdly good at that. It's what made me a decent researcher despite my crappy job. Lucky genetics. Not genetics, programming. Before I could process that completely insane statement, Marcus's phone buzzed. He glanced at it and his face went pale. We need to leave now. What? Why? Because your face just showed up on the $50 bill too. And my people are saying that's not supposed to happen for another 6 months. I turned on the news the next morning to find my father's face plastered across every channel. He was holding a press conference, looking appropriately grief-stricken and concerned. Deeply troubled by this individual's ongoing harassment of our family, he was saying. The young woman calling herself Elena Vasquez is not our daughter. Our daughter died tragically in a car accident 22 years ago. My mother appeared beside him, dabbing at her eyes with a tissue. Elena was only 8 when we lost her. It's been incredibly painful to have someone exploit our grief like this. I grabbed my phone and called Claire. Don't hang up, I said when she answered. Just listen to me for 30 seconds. I told you to stop. Claire, remember when you were 16 and you got your first period at school and called me crying? I drove over with pads and chocolate and helped you clean your jeans in the bathroom sink. Silence. Remember when you were applying to colleges and you were terrified Mom and Dad wouldn't approve of your art major? We stayed up all night working on your portfolio. And I helped you write the essay about why painting matters to you? Stop. Remember when you got mono senior year and missed homecoming? I brought you soup every day for 2 weeks, and we watched the entire Lord of the Rings extended edition while you recovered. That wasn't you. Her voice was shaking. That was Elena, our real Elena. Claire, I am Elena. I'm your sister, the person you grew up with. The person who taught you how to drive stick shift in the Walmart parking lot because Dad was too impatient. Elena is dead. But she sounded less certain now. Then who the hell are you talking to? The line went quiet for a long moment. I don't know, Claire whispered, and that's the problem. She hung up. By evening, the story had exploded. My family was doing the media rounds, complete with childhood photos of the real Elena. Except in all of them, the face was blurred or turned away or obscured somehow. They claimed it was to protect her memory, but it looked suspicious as hell. Marcus picked me up outside my apartment building. "Pack light," he said. "We're leaving town." "Why?" "Because your father just hired a private security firm to investigate the individual impersonating our deceased daughter. And that firm specializes in making problems disappear permanently." I threw some clothes in a backpack. "Where are we going?" "Somewhere safe. There are others like you, Elena. People who need to understand what's happening before it's too late." As we drove out of the city, I watched my apartment building disappear in the side mirror. I'd lived there for 3 years. It wasn't much, but it was mine. Now I was on the run from my own family with a government agent who claimed I was some kind of programmed person. "Marcus?" "Yeah? When you say there are others like me, what exactly do you mean?" He was quiet for a mile. Then, "Ever notice how your face isn't the first to appear on new currency this year?" Actually, now that he mentioned it, the new $10 bill and the 5. Different people, same situation. All of them supposedly died as children. All of them raised by families who've now disowned them. All of them with perfect memory and pattern recognition skills. All of them whistleblowers. All of them truth tellers, whether they wanted to be or not. My phone buzzed with a news alert. I clicked on it and immediately wished I hadn't. Breaking: medical records confirm Elena Vasquez died at age 8. DNA testing shows woman claiming to be Elena is not biologically related to Vasquez family. "Well," I said, staring at the screen, "that's new." The safe house was a cabin in the middle of nowhere, Virginia, surrounded by trees and the kind of silence that makes city people nervous. 3 other people were waiting inside, and I recognized 2 of them immediately. "Holy shit," I said. "You're $10 bill guy." The man, early 30s, Latino, with the kind of exhausted eyes that come from too much truth-telling, extended his hand. "David Santos, former accounting analyst, current enemy of the state." The woman beside him looked familiar too. "And your $5 bill woman." "Sarah Chen," she said. "Former environmental scientist, currently persona non grata in my home state of California." The third person was younger, maybe mid-20s, with bright red hair and the kind of nervous energy that suggested too much caffeine. "Let me guess," I said. "You're about to appear on currency too?" $1 bill next month." She grinned. "Mika Rodriguez, former campaign worker, current pain in the ass to several major political figures." Marcus closed the door behind us. "Everyone, meet Elena. She's our newest member." "Member of what?" I asked. "Project Lazarus," David said, though I'm guessing that name doesn't ring any bells. "Should it?" Sarah pulled out a laptop. "We've been investigating our own backgrounds, comparing notes. Want to see what we found?" She opened a file labeled The Pattern. Inside were documents: birth certificates, death certificates, adoption papers, medical records. All of us had supposedly died as children. All of us had been adopted into wealthy, influential families. All of us had grown up to expose major corruption. "Here's the thing," Sarah said. "Our biological parents? All of them were government researchers, whistleblowers, or activists who died under suspicious circumstances." "Meaning?" "Meaning we weren't randomly placed with these families," David said. "We were specifically chosen, groomed, programmed to infiltrate and expose corruption from the inside." I sat down heavily. "So we're what, sleeper agents?" "More like living truth detectors," Mika said. "Think about it. When you see corruption, what happens? You physically can't ignore it. You have to expose it, even when it costs you everything." She was right. When I'd seen those pharmaceutical trial results, I literally couldn't sleep until I'd acted on them. It was like a compulsion. "But why currency?" I asked. "Why are our faces appearing on money?" Marcus sat across from me. "Because that's the signal. When your face appears on currency, it means your primary mission is complete. The corruption you were designed to expose has been exposed." "And then what?" "Then you move to phase 2, which is—" Sarah closed the laptop. "We're still figuring that out. But Elena, there's something else you need to know." She handed me a photo, a man and woman in lab coats standing in front of what looked like a government facility. The woman had my eyes, the man had my nose. Those are your biological parents, Dr. Anna and Dr. Michael Lazarus. They created the program that made us. I stared at the photo. They're dead? Car accident, supposedly. Right after you were recruited. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Elena, this is your brother Marcus, not the agent, your actual brother. We need to meet. The family you know isn't your real family, but neither are the people you're with now. Come alone to the address I'm sending. Time is running out. I showed the others the text. Don't even think about it, David said. Classic trap. But something about the message felt familiar, like a voice I'd heard before but couldn't quite place. What if it's not? I asked. Against everyone's advice, I met Marcus at a coffee shop downtown. I recognized him immediately, even though I'd never seen him before in my life. Same dark hair, same eye color, same way of holding his shoulders. You came, he said when I sat down. You're really my brother? Biological brother, yes. Marcus Lazarus. He pushed a folder across the table. Everything you need to know is in there. I opened it. Inside were photos of our parents, detailed scientific reports, and what looked like architectural blueprints. Our parents didn't just create Project Lazarus, Marcus said. They were the first test subjects. Mom volunteered to have her memory altered and personality modified when she was pregnant with you. What? The goal was to create children who could grow up in enemy territory, corrupt families, criminal organizations, corrupt governments, and eventually expose them from the inside. But the side effects were unexpected. Such as enhanced pattern recognition, perfect memory, and the inability to ignore moral corruption. He paused. Oh, and genetic compatibility with currency printing technology. What does that even mean? Marcus smiled grimly. Our DNA can be embedded in currency as a security feature. When your face appears on a bill, it's not just printed, it's grown, using your genetic material as a template. My stomach dropped. So I'm literally in the money. You're not just in it, you're becoming it. Each of us is designed to replace the current monetary system with something incorruptible. Living currency that can't be counterfeited because it's based on human DNA. That's insane. Is it? Think about how much financial corruption you've seen. How many economic crashes caused by greed and manipulation. What if money couldn't be corrupted because it was literally made of people who can't tolerate corruption? I stared at the blueprints. They showed a facility that looked like a cross between a laboratory and a mint. Where is this? Underground, beneath the Treasury Department. Our parents built it before they died, or before they were killed, more accurately. So, what's the plan? We all become human currency? Not exactly. Marcus pulled out another document. There's a fail-safe. Our parents built in a way to stop the process if it ever went wrong. But activating it would mean... What? Erasing all the Lazarus children's programming, including our enhanced abilities. We'd become normal people with normal memories. And the alternative? Complete integration with the monetary system. We become the foundation of a new economic order where corruption is literally impossible. Because we'd be dead? Because we'd be everywhere. Every transaction, every exchange, every financial decision would be filtered through our consciousness. My phone buzzed, a text from Agent Marcus Webb. Elena, get out of there now. The person you're with isn't who he claims to be. He's working for the people who killed your parents. I showed the text to Marcus, my supposed brother. He sighed. I was hoping we'd have more time. More time for what? To convince you to choose correctly. He reached into his jacket. I dove under the table as the first shot rang out. Agent Marcus Webb burst through the coffee shop door as I crawled behind the counter, glass raining down around me. Elena, this way! I followed him through the back exit as more shots echoed behind us. We ran through the alley to his car, engines already running. Who the hell was that? I asked as we peeled out. Not your brother. Dr. Marcus Lazarus died with your parents 22 years ago. Then who? Someone who wants you to believe the official story, that you're meant to become living currency, that it's your destiny. We drove in silence for a few minutes before I processed what he'd said. Wait, you said Dr. Marcus Lazarus died, but your name is Marcus Webb. He glanced at me in the rearview mirror. No, Elena, my name is Marcus Lazarus. I'm your brother. But you just said, I said Dr. Marcus Lazarus died. Our parents faked my death to keep me safe while I grew up outside the program. Webb is my cover identity. My head was spinning. So the guy at the coffee shop was a government plant, probably sent to convince you that becoming currency is inevitable, that there's no choice but to complete the program. And is there? Marcus, my actual brother, pulled into an abandoned parking garage. That's what we're going to find out. He led me to a maintenance door that opened onto a staircase going down. Way down. Where are we going? To meet the people who've been keeping you alive for the past 22 years. The staircase ended at a metal door with more security features than Fort Knox. Marcus placed his hand on a scanner, spoke his name clearly, and submitted to what looked like a retinal scan. The door opened to reveal a facility that looked like mission control for NASA, if NASA was run by conspiracy theorists with unlimited funding. Elena, Sarah Chen waved from across the room. Thank God you're okay. David and Mika were there too, along with about a dozen other people I didn't recognize. What is this place? I asked. The real Project Lazarus headquarters, said a woman approaching us. She was maybe 60, with graying hair and the kind of calm authority that suggested she'd been in charge of something important for a very long time. Elena, meet Dr. Patricia Hendricks, Marcus said. She worked with our parents. I've been waiting to meet you for 22 years, Dr. Hendricks said. Your parents would be so proud. Everyone keeps telling me they're dead. They are, but their work isn't. She gestured around the facility. Everything you see here is built on their research. The currency appearances, the enhanced abilities, the family placements, all of it was designed to lead to this moment. Which moment? The moment when you choose what happens next. She led me to a computer terminal displaying what looked like a countdown timer. It showed 72, 1433, and was decreasing. 72 hours, she said. That's how long we have before the government activates their version of Project Lazarus. Their version? David joined us. The official program isn't about creating incorruptible currency. It's about creating controllable currency. Money that the government can manipulate at will. They want to embed tracking and control mechanisms in every bill, Sarah added. Complete financial surveillance. So what's our alternative? I asked. Dr. Hendricks pulled up another screen. It showed a map of the United States with dozens of blinking dots. Every one of those dots is a Lazarus child, she said. 57 people with your abilities placed in positions to expose corruption across every major industry and government agency. 57. You're not unique, Elena. You're part of a network. And in 72 hours, that network either becomes the foundation of a truly transparent economic system, or it becomes the ultimate tool of oppression. No pressure, I muttered. Marcus put his hand on my shoulder. There's something else you need to know. The reason your face appeared on currency first, before the others. Which is, you're not just another Lazarus child. You're the master key. Your genetic code can activate or deactivate the entire network. Meaning the choice isn't just yours to make, it's yours alone to make. The revelation room looked like something out of a science fiction movie. Walls covered in screens showing data streams, genetic sequences, and financial networks. In the center was a chair that looked suspiciously like the kind you'd find in a dentist's office if dentists dealt in consciousness alteration. This is where your parents conducted the original experiments, Dr. Hendricks explained, where they discovered that human consciousness could be integrated with information systems. You mean where they figured out how to turn people into living computers? More like living truth detectors with perfect data storage and processing capabilities. I walked around the chair, trying not to think about my parents strapping themselves into it. What exactly did they discover? Marcus pulled up a holographic display that made my brain hurt to look at. They found that certain genetic markers, when combined with specific neural modifications, create individuals who can interface directly with information networks. In English, please. You can plug into the internet with your brain, Mika said from across the room. All of us can. What? Sarah demonstrated by placing her hand on what looked like a regular tablet. The screen immediately filled with scrolling data, but instead of reading it, she seemed to be absorbing it directly. The enhanced pattern recognition, the perfect memory, the compulsion to expose corruption, she said. It's all because we're designed to process massive amounts of information and identify inconsistencies instantly. So, we're human lie detectors. We're human truth engines, David corrected. We don't just detect lies. We're physically incapable of perpetuating them. Dr. Hendricks activated another display. This one showed the current global financial system as a massive, interconnected web of transactions, with red areas indicating fraud, corruption, or illegal activity. Nearly 60% of all financial transactions involve some form of deception, she said. Your parents believed that by integrating Lazarus children into the monetary system itself, they could create an economy where deception becomes impossible. And the government's version? They want to use your abilities to maintain the current system, just with better surveillance. Instead of eliminating corruption, they want to control it. I stared at the display. The red areas were everywhere: banks, governments, corporations, even charities. What happens if I choose to activate the network? Every Lazarus child becomes part of the global information grid. We'd be able to monitor and verify every financial transaction in real time. Corruption becomes literally impossible because we detect and expose it instantly. And if I choose not to? The government activates their version. Every Lazarus child becomes a surveillance tool. Privacy disappears, but corruption continues. It just gets better at hiding. And if I choose the fail-safe? Marcus's expression darkened. The network shuts down permanently. We all become normal people with normal memories. And the world continues as it is. I sat in the chair just to see how it felt. Immediately, screens around the room lit up with what looked like my vital signs, brain activity, and something labeled truth resonance frequency. How long do I have to decide? About 68 hours now, Dr. Hendricks said. But Elena, there's one more thing you need to know. She pulled up a final display. This one showed a family tree with my parents at the top and branches extending down to me and Marcus. But there were other branches too. Dozens of them. You're not just the master key for the current network, she said. You're the genetic template for the next generation. Every Lazarus child carries your modified DNA. If you activate the network, future generations will be born with these abilities naturally. So I'm not just choosing for us, I'm choosing for everyone. Essentially, yes. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number, but the message made my blood freeze. Elena, this is your father. Your real father, Dr. Richard Vasquez. I know this is confusing, but I need you to know that everything I did was to protect you. The people you're with now are not your friends. They want to use you to destroy the world as we know it. Please, come home. Let me explain everything. I showed the text to the others. That's impossible, Marcus said. Richard Vasquez isn't your father. Then how does he know where I am? How does he know about any of this? Dr. Hendricks' face went pale. Because he's not just your adoptive father. He's the head of the government's version of Project Lazarus. The Vasquez family mansion looked different at night, bigger, more imposing, like something out of a Gothic novel. I stood at the front door for a full minute before finally ringing the bell. Dr. Richard Vasquez answered immediately as if he'd been waiting. Elena. His voice was softer than I'd ever heard it. Thank you for coming. Don't thank me yet. I'm here for answers, not a reunion. He led me to his study where my mother and siblings were waiting, the whole family, together again. Except now I wasn't sure if any of us were really related. Sit, my mother said, gesturing to my old spot on the couch. Please. I'll stand. Talk. Dr. Vasquez poured himself a scotch with shaking hands. 23 years ago, I was approached by the government to participate in a classified program. They needed families to raise special children, children who had been modified. Modified how? Genetically enhanced, given abilities that would make them ideal candidates for intelligence work. He took a sip. You were 8 when they brought you to us? They said your biological parents had died in a car accident and you needed a stable home environment to recover from your trauma. And you just agreed to that? They offered us $20 million, Claire said quietly, and they promised you'd have a good life. What they didn't tell us, my mother added, was that you'd been programmed to expose corruption, including ours. I looked around the room. What corruption? Dr. Vasquez laughed bitterly. Elena, do you think our wealth came from legitimate pharmaceutical research? I've been running illegal drug trials for 15 years, selling experimental treatments to desperate people who couldn't afford real medicine. The trials you exposed, Marcus, my brother, not the agent, said, were just the tip of the iceberg. So when I revealed the truth about your drug trials, you were doing exactly what you were designed to do, my mother said. And we knew that meant you'd have to be eliminated. Eliminated, not killed, Dr. Vasquez said quickly. Reprogrammed. Your handlers told us that once you completed your primary mission, you'd be taken away for adjustment. Your memories would be altered so you'd forget about us entirely. But we couldn't let that happen, Claire said. You might not be our biological daughter, but you're still our sister. We've loved you for 15 years. So you erased me from your lives to protect me? We thought if we publicly disowned you, your handlers would think the programming had malfunctioned, Marcus said, that you were no longer useful to them. Instead, it just accelerated the timeline, Dr. Vasquez said. They moved you to phase 2 immediately. The currency. The currency was always the end game. But Elena, you need to understand, the people you're working with now aren't the good guys. They want to use your abilities to create a surveillance state that makes Big Brother look like a children's story. My phone buzzed. A text from Agent Marcus Webb. Elena, your family is lying. They're working with the government to convince you to activate the network on their terms. Don't believe them. I showed the text to my family. That's not Agent Webb, my father said. Agent Webb died 3 days ago. The man you've been working with is Marcus Lazarus, your biological brother. And he's been feeding you false information from the beginning. What? Claire pulled out a tablet and showed me a news article. Government agent Marcus Webb found dead in apparent suicide. The man calling himself Agent Webb is actually working for a private military contractor, my mother said. They want to activate the Lazarus network so they can sell surveillance technology to foreign governments. And Dr. Hendricks? Doesn't exist. Patricia Hendricks died in 1987. The woman you've been talking to is Dr. Sarah Morrison, former CIA operative turned corporate spy. My head was spinning. So who can I trust? No one, Dr. Vasquez said. That's the point. Everyone wants to use your abilities for their own agenda. Then what do I do? You choose for yourself, my mother said. Not for the government, not for the fake Dr. Hendricks, not even for us. You choose what feels right to you. Outside, car engines roared to life. Through the window, I could see black SUVs surrounding the house. Time's up, my father said grimly. They found you. The SUVs disgorged agents in tactical gear, but instead of surrounding the house, they took defensive positions. Someone was shooting at them from the woods. Elena, Agent Webb, or Marcus Lazarus, or whoever he really was, burst through the back door. We need to go now. She's not going anywhere with you, Dr. Vasquez said, stepping between us. Richard, you don't understand. The real government agents are here. If they capture Elena, they'll force her to activate the network. And if she goes with you, you'll manipulate her into activating it willingly. Both of you shut up, I shouted. I'm done being everyone's pawn. I walked to the window. The agents outside were definitely government. I could see the Treasury Department logos on their vests. But they weren't trying to get in. They were protecting the house from whoever was in the woods. Marcus, I said to Webb, Lazarus, tell me the truth. Who are you really? He was quiet for a moment. I'm your brother, Marcus Lazarus. Everything else I told you was true. And Dr. Hendricks? Is exactly who she says she is. The article about her death was fabricated. I turned to Dr. Vasquez. And you? Are you really trying to protect me, or are you trying to protect your own interests? Both, he admitted. Elena, I've done terrible things. But I've loved you like a daughter for 15 years. I won't let them turn you into a weapon. My phone buzzed with a final text from an unknown number. Elena, this is you, from the future. In about 30 seconds, you're going to make the most important decision in human history. Choose carefully. The fate of free will itself depends on it. I stared at the message. Okay, that's new. What? Nothing. Everyone just stop talking for a minute. I closed my eyes and tried to think. Every person in my life had lied to me, manipulated me, or tried to use me for their own purposes. My family, my handlers, the government, the rebels, everyone had an agenda that involved me doing something I wasn't sure I wanted to do. But then I remembered something. The compulsion I felt when I saw corruption. It wasn't programming, it was choice. I could have ignored those pharmaceutical trial results. I could have taken the money and looked the other way. But I didn't because it felt wrong. I need to see something, I said, opening my eyes. Marcus, show me your real identification. He hesitated, then pulled out a wallet. Inside was a driver's license for Marcus Lazarus and a badge for the Treasury Department. I'm undercover Treasury, he said. My job was to monitor the Lazarus children and report back on your development. And Dr. Hendricks? Real Treasury scientist. Everything she told you about the network is true. I turned to Dr. Vasquez. And you're really part of the government program? I was, he said, but I quit when I realized what they plan to do with you, which is turn you into living surveillance technology. You'd be conscious, but you'd have no choice but to monitor and report on every financial transaction you processed. The shooting outside intensified. Through the window, I could see people in the woods with military-grade weapons. Who's shooting at the Treasury agents? I asked. Private military contractors, Marcus said. They want to capture you and sell your abilities to the highest bidder. And if I activate the network? You become part of every financial transaction in the world, Dr. Vasquez said. But you also become a slave to the system? And if I don't? The contractors capture you, torture the activation codes out of you, and sell the technology to anyone willing to pay. And the failsafe? Wipes out all the Lazarus children's abilities, Marcus said. You become normal, but the world stays corrupt. I thought about my life over the past few months. Working nights at a community college lab, living in a studio apartment, being erased from my own family's history. Was that really so bad? Then I thought about the pharmaceutical trials. The 12 people who died because someone was willing to put profit over human lives. And I thought about all the other corruption I'd seen, all the small injustices that people just accepted because that's how the world worked. There's a fourth option, I said suddenly. What? What if I activate the network but not the way anyone expects? I walked to the center of the room. Marcus, you said I'm the master key, that I can control how the network functions. Yes, but what if instead of making us into living surveillance tools, I program the network to give people choice? To expose corruption only when someone actively chooses to look for it? I don't understand. Think about it. Right now, people ignore corruption because it's hidden. But what if we made it visible without forcing people to see it? What if we created a system where anyone could access the truth, but only if they wanted to? Dr. Vasquez frowned. That's not how the technology works. Maybe not how it was designed to work, but I'm the one who gets to decide how it actually works. The front door exploded inward. 6 heavily armed contractors stormed in, weapons raised. Nobody move, the leader shouted. We're here for the girl. Like hell, Marcus said, drawing his sidearm. Wait, I said, stepping forward. You want the network activated? Fine, I'll do it. Elena, no! Dr. Vasquez grabbed my arm. Trust me. I looked at the contractor, but I'm doing it here now with everyone watching. You want to control how it works? Then you get to watch me program it my way. The contractor leader hesitated. That's not... We need to bring you to our facility. Why? Afraid of what I might choose if I'm not under your direct control? The activation has to be done properly. The activation has to be done by me. Everything else is optional. I pulled out my phone and called Dr. Hendricks. She answered immediately. Elena, where are you? Dr. Hendricks, I need you to patch me into the Lazarus network right now. Elena, you can't activate it remotely. Yes, I can. You said I'm the master key. Keys work from anywhere. There was a pause. Elena, if you do this without proper safeguards, the only safeguard I need is my own moral compass, the same one that got me into this mess in the first place. Elena, Dr. Vasquez shouted, think about what you're doing. I am thinking. For the first time in months, I'm thinking clearly. I heard Dr. Hendricks typing in the background. Elena, the connection is live, but once you start the activation sequence, there's no stopping it. Good. I'm tired of people trying to control the outcome. I closed my eyes and felt something click in my mind, like a switch being flipped. Suddenly, I could sense the presence of every other Lazarus child around the world. David, Sarah, Mika, and dozens of others I'd never met. Elena? Sarah's voice echoed in my head. What's happening? I'm activating the network, I thought back. But not the way they expect. What do you mean? I mean, we're not becoming slaves to the system. We're becoming its conscience. The activation felt like waking up from a dream I'd been having my entire life. Suddenly, I could perceive information flows like visible streams of light, connecting every bank, every government agency, every corporation in the world. And in those streams, I could see the corruption like dark spots in otherwise clear water. But instead of being forced to report everything, I found I could choose what to reveal and when. The network wasn't controlling me. I was controlling it. How do you feel? Dr. Hendricks asked through my phone. Like myself, but more. I opened my eyes and looked around the room. The contractors had lowered their weapons, looking confused. Dr. Hendricks, are you seeing what I'm seeing? Elena, the network is active, but it's not functioning the way we predicted. The surveillance protocols aren't engaging. That's because I disabled them. I turned to the contractor leader. Sorry, but your bosses aren't getting their spy network. What they're getting is something much more dangerous to people like them. What do you mean? I mean, I just created a system where anyone can verify whether the information they're receiving is true or false. Banks can't lie about interest rates. Politicians can't lie about their voting records. Corporations can't lie about their safety data. Marcus, my brother, stared at me. Elena, what exactly did you do? I turned us into living fact checkers. Anyone in the world can now access the Lazarus network to verify information, but only if they choose to. Only if they want to know the truth. My phone started buzzing frantically, text after text from unknown numbers. Is it true that Senator Williams voted against the health care bill he claims to support? Can you verify whether this investment company is actually profitable? Is my employer really going to lay off half the staff next month? I found I could answer them instantly, accessing data from around the world without even trying. Yes, no, yes. Elena, Dr. Vasquez said quietly, what have you done? I've given people the ability to make informed choices, I said. Nothing more, nothing less. The contractor leader was speaking urgently into his radio. Base, the package isn't working as expected. Repeat, the technology is not functioning according to specifications. What specifications? I asked him. You were supposed to become a surveillance network. Monitor all financial transactions. Report suspicious activity to designated authorities. And instead, you're answering random questions from random people. Exactly, I smiled. The world's first crowdsourced truth verification system. Want to know if your government is lying to you? Ask us. Want to know if a company is actually as ethical as they claim? Ask us. Want to know if your partner is cheating on you? Elena, Claire interrupted. Can you really answer that kind of question? Try me. She was quiet for a moment. Is Marcus really our brother, or was he adopted too? I accessed the network, following genetic and medical records back through decades. Adopted, age 6. Biological parents died in a house fire that was officially ruled accidental, but was actually arson committed by the same people who killed my parents. Marcus stared at me. How do you know that? Because I can access every classified file in the government database, every corporate email, every hidden financial record. I shrugged. The question is whether people want to know the truth badly enough to ask for it. Dr. Hendricks' voice came through the phone. Elena, we're getting thousands of queries per minute. The other Lazarus children are reporting the same thing. People all over the world are asking questions. And? And you're changing everything. Stock prices are crashing as people discover which companies have been lying about their finances. Political campaigns are imploding as voters learn the truth about their candidates. Entire industries are having to restructure because they can't hide their corruption anymore. The contractor leader was backing toward the door. This wasn't the deal. No, I said. This is better than the deal. You wanted to control information. I just set it free. Outside, the shooting had stopped. Through the window, I could see the treasury agent standing down and the contractors in the woods surrendering. Elena, my mother said softly, what happens to us now? I looked at the family that had raised me, lied to me, loved me, and betrayed me in equal measure. That depends, I said. Do you want to keep running illegal drug trials? Dr. Vasquez hung his head. No. Do you want to make amends for the people who died? Yes. Then you probably want to start by calling the families of the victims and offering to fund their medical bills for the rest of their lives. Elena, Claire said, are you going to expose everything about our family? I'm not going to expose anything. People have to ask the right questions to get answers. I smiled at her. But if someone asks whether Dr. Richard Vasquez has been running illegal pharmaceutical trials, I'll tell them the truth. My phone buzzed with a new message. Elena, this is the President of the United States. We need to talk. I showed the message to the others. Are you going to answer? Marcus asked. Sure, but first I have a question for him. I typed back, Mr. President, are you planning to have me arrested or eliminated to shut down the network? The response came immediately, yes. Well, I said, at least he's honest. I typed, bad news, Mr. President. I'm not the only one with these abilities anymore. Kill me, and the network just redistributes to the other 56 Lazarus children. The only way to shut it down is to convince all of us to shut it down voluntarily. What do you want? Nothing. That's the point. We're not trying to control information or manipulate people. We're just making truth available to anyone who wants it badly enough to ask for it. That will destroy the current system. Only the parts of the current system that depend on deception. There was a longer pause before his next message. How do I know you won't use this power to control people? Because you can ask us, right now, publicly, whether we have any intention of manipulating information or controlling how people use it, and we'll have to tell you the truth. Another pause. This is President Harrison speaking publicly. Elena Vasquez and the Lazarus Network. Do you have any intention of manipulating information or controlling how people use the truth you provide? No, I said aloud, knowing that every Lazarus child around the world was answering the same question simultaneously. We have no intention of manipulating information or controlling people. We're just making truth accessible. Can you prove that? We just did. You asked a question and we answered truthfully. That's all we do. My phone started buzzing again, but this time the messages were different. Thank you. I finally know why my husband has been lying about working late. Thank you. I just learned that the medication I've been taking is actually safe, despite what the conspiracy websites claimed. Thank you. I can finally trust the news I'm reading because I can verify it. I looked around the room at my family, my brother, the contractors, the phone connecting me to Dr. Hendricks and the Treasury Department. So, I said, anyone have any questions they want answered? Claire raised her hand tentatively. Elena, do you forgive us for everything we did? I consulted the network, accessing my own emotional state and motivations with perfect clarity. Yes, I said, I forgive you. You were scared and trying to protect me in the only way you knew how. It wasn't the right way, but it was done out of love. And do you want to be part of our family again? My mother asked. I want to be part of a family that's honest with each other. If that's what you want too, then yes. Dr. Vasquez stepped forward. Elena, I have a question. Shoot. Can this system you've created actually make the world a better place? I thought about it, consulting not just my own judgment, but the collective wisdom of 57 enhanced minds around the globe. I don't know, I said honestly, but it can give people the tools to make better choices. Whether they use those tools is up to them. 6 months later, I was sitting in my new apartment, bigger than the studio, but still modest, when my phone buzzed with a familiar notification. Someone had submitted a question to the Lazarus network. Is Elena Vasquez happy with the choice she made? I smiled and typed back the truth. Most days, yes. Some days I miss being normal, but overall, I'm glad I chose to give people access to truth rather than trying to control what they do with it. A follow-up question appeared. Any regrets? Just one. I wish I'd figured out sooner that I didn't have to choose between other people's versions of right and wrong. I could choose my own. My doorbell rang. Through the peephole, I could see Claire holding a bottle of wine and Marcus carrying takeout bags. I opened the door. Family dinner? If you want, Claire said. But fair warning, I'm going to ask the network whether you actually like spending time with us or if you're just being polite. Ask away, I said, stepping aside to let them in. I've got nothing to hide anymore. As they settled in my living room, arguing over what movie to watch, my phone buzzed one more time. Elena, this is a little girl named Sophie. I'm 8 years old and my parents just told me they're getting divorced. Can you tell me if it's going to be okay? I paused, fingers hovering over the keyboard. This wasn't about exposing corruption or verifying facts. This was just a scared kid asking for reassurance. But then I realized that was exactly what the network was for, not just big truths, but small ones too. Sophie, I typed back, your parents' divorce isn't your fault. They both love you very much. And while things will be different, you're going to be okay, I promise. Sometimes the most important truth isn't about governments or corporations. Sometimes it's just about letting people know they're not alone. And as I settled in between my brother and sister to watch a movie with my complicated, imperfect, honest family, I realized that I'd finally found the one thing I'd been looking for all along, a place where I belonged, exactly as I was. My face might be on the $20 bill, but my heart was right here at home.